Greetings. My name is Guy Reams from Mount Centennial College, and this video is to demonstrate how to install the Android emulator on your PC so you can emulate the Android operating system on a Windows PC. This also can work from a Linux-based PC, but today's exercise will just simply show you how to do this on a Windows machine. I've provided a quick guide called Installing an Android Simulator Guide. The first step is to go to the Android website and download the SDK tool. The SDK tool is a compilation of tools to help you to design and develop Android applications. In this particular case, we're just going to be using the emulator, but we're going to go and download the entire SDK tool. So once you get to the website, you need to click on the link to download the SDK. When you click on that, you need to agree to the licensing agreement, and then you need to choose what type of operating system you have, 32-bit or 64-bit. To find out what type of operating system you have, you click on the Start button, right-click on My Computer, and go to Properties. You can then see under here my system type is a 64-bit operating system. So in this case, I'm going to choose 64-bit, and then I'm going to click Download. It has now started to download. Okay, the SDK is now downloaded. So I'm basically going to find the SDK in my Downloads folder. And here it is. It's called ADT Bundle. Notice the 64 here, indicating that it's for the 64-bit operating system. I'm going to go to somewhere on my computer. In this case, I'm going to my C drive. And I'm going to create a new folder. And the folder I'm going to create, I'm just going to call it Android. Actually, I'm going to do that correctly. So I'm going to type the Android right here. So now I've got a folder where I'm going to put my Android SDK. I'm now going to right-click and drag that zip file, and I'm going to extract it. And I want to extract it straight to that folder. I don't want to put that whole bundle name in there. So I'm going to extract it, and then it's going to begin the extraction process. It will take a while because this is a little over a gig of data that is being extracted. Okay, the SDK is finished extracting. So now if I go into that folder, I will notice there's an Eclipse folder, which is a development environment. And then there's an SDK section. And under SDK, there's lots of different things in here. There's tools and stuff. In the tools directory is the emulator. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run the emulator. But prior to running the emulator, you must do something. So this is step 3 in my guide. So you must run the device manager, or it's called AVD. So this is what in order to do this, you have to run the command line that does that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the command prompt here, and I will also open up the directory. And I'm going to, over here in my command prompt, I'm going to type change directory. And I'm going to paste in that directory where the tools is. And now I'm in the tools directory that I'm going to be looking at. So there you go. So we're going to now type that in. We're going to type a command. In fact, I'm going to move this over and stretch out. There we go. Yeah. So I'm going to move that over a little bit there. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and run the command. Now, according to my document, you have to run the command Android AVD. So you can type Android AVD, and this will open up the device manager in Android that you can manage your Android devices. So basically here it is. There is no virtual device created. We're creating a virtual device so we can run the virtual operating system, the Android operating system, on the virtual device. So basically we're creating a fake tablet or a fake phone on our PC. So I'm going to click New here, and here you go. Here's where you can create a bunch of names. I'm going to call this Guy, just G-Y. And then you can pick the type of device I want, whether I want it to be a Nexus 7, Nexus 10, or whatever I want it to be. I suggest when you first try this, you start out small, maybe go a little bit lower. I'm going to go ahead and do this one right here, 800 by 1200, and then you can do. I want this to be what type of Android API, and then you can choose what skin you want if necessary. You can choose whether it has a camera. I recommend you leave all that out of there just to make sure it works the first time. And you can do your memory and your internal storage and just leave it all as default for now if you want to. And here we can put, I think that's like, we're going to go ahead and say 9 megabytes for the SD card. Actually, probably do a more number like 16 megabytes for the SD card. There we go. Let me see. Do we got everything? Skin, we'll say no skin. We'll just do no skin on this for this first time. There we go. I think we've got everything. So this may or may not work. We're going to set up a basic, you may have to change some of these parameters, like lowering or increasing the memory, increasing or decreasing the internal storage, that sort of thing. There is this checkbox down here, use host GPU. You have to know if the hardware you're running on your PC supports this. That's another discussion for another day, but just assume that it doesn't for now. So go ahead and click OK. And we have now created the virtual device. And you can see right here, the virtual device guy is now created. Okay, now we're going to see if this actually works. So once we've created the virtual device, we're now able to run the emulator command. So type emulator, and then you're going to type -avd, that's a command to specify what virtual device I want to run. And I want to run the virtual device guy. If you remember, I created it and I called it guy. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter now. And here's where we cross our fingers and hope that our resources on our PC are adequate to run this. Now, it will take a few minutes to run, so be patient with it. So don't just assume it's dead. If you notice, as I'm talking here, it finally did come up. And now this is where we find out if that actually is going to work. And we're going to be patient as we watch this because it may or may not work. Notice I'm getting the Android boot screen, which so far, so good. That's a good sign. And we're going to see if this actual device boots up with an OS on it here. I do want to point out while we're waiting, this could take a while. So you'll have to be patient with it. The first time this boots up, it may take a while. It's basically allocating resources on your PC to this virtual device. So be patient with it. If it never completes, meaning that it just fails, then you'll need to go back in and create another virtual device to see if create a different virtual device with different settings and see if you can make it better. Okay, I'm back. The Android device that I created never did boot. It just froze there at the Android flash screen forever. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to go in, or I'm going to actually edit guy. So I'm going to edit this Android device and I'm just going to mess around with it to see if I can lower down its abilities, to see if I can improve this. One thing you can try is drop it down to a different level. So you have different versions of the Nexus platform. So I'm going to go down to a very simple Nexus 4 platform, and we'll see if that works out. And then I'm going to go ahead and there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and choose. Like I said, it didn't work. So I'm going to choose a lower level of device, and I'm going to no cameras, good deal. And I'm going to choose the size of this down to be the lowest possible, which I think is 9. I don't remember. It must have it 9. Okay. I think you can have no SD card. I think it'll allow you to do it none. So I'm going to try that. So let's see if that works. Let's see if it gives me a problem. So I'm going to click OK. I've created that now. I've reset it. I'm going to close that, and now I'm going to run my command emulator-avd guy, and we'll see if this one works. And here we go. We're booting up the Android device. I see my Android flash screen, and we'll see if this one we'll see if this one works. Okay, well, after messing around, I was able to finally get the Android device to boot. By the way, after tweaking the settings, I discovered that I had to let it boot for about 8 minutes on my machine for it to boot up the first time. So that gives you an idea. It depends on the speed of your machine. You might not be able to boot up that fast. It just depends. So as you can see here, I have an actual interface now. I have a direction. I have the Android interface. Now, you'll notice that this particular one is just too big to fit on my screen because the Android is emulating a tablet in this case, and it's just too big. So I need to go and adjust my settings to so something I can work with. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and we'll see what that looks like. All right, I've now booted up another device. I'm just practicing and playing around. This one I actually can see the little unlock screen, so I'm going to move my mouse over there, pretend it's my finger, and here we go. I've been able to get into the apps, and I can touch the apps button, and away I can go, right? So you're able to do that. Some of these will have hardware buttons enabled. Some of them will not. This one does have a hardware button of the home key and the volume keys to turn the volume up and down on your phone. So you have that ability. You also have a power button. So some of them have that ability, and you're able to, mess around with it and see and play around with the phone. This one still has a resolution a little bit bigger than the screen that I'm using. Don't worry about that. You can just keep twiddling, messing around with it till you get a resolution that works. So there you go. That's how you get an Android emulation software to work. Pretty fun. Okay, just want to show you one more thing. I was able to finally figure out a configuration that fits my screen. As you can see here, I've got a little skin here, and I've got an Android phone that fits my current screen resolution. Just to show you, when I was in the AVD device manager, I clicked edit, and I chose the you're able to choose what target you want, and you can choose one with a resolution that actually fits. So when you click that, you're able to select the device you want. See, when I noticed that some of these devices have higher resolutions, some of them have lower resolutions, I went in and chose one of these ones with a really low resolution. And so we're able to actually boot it up and see it on our full screen. So also I noticed that while I'm in here, when you create your AVD, you can click on the start button here and just start the emulator that way rather than running the command line, which was kind of helpful discovery. Now I'm going to go back to the Google Android device, and notice now I've got my things. I'm going to go ahead and click on the unlock button, and I'm going to slide it to the right and unlock the phone. And now I can click the OK button, and here's my typical Google interface that most of you are used to. And you can go ahead and click on this button, and you can bring up all your settings, and you can play with and manage the phone. And this is a great way to experience the Android interface in the environment. I can open up a browser, and I can open up my calendar, and I can open up tools and do that kind of stuff. Now, we can talk a little bit more about how to get this to work, but notice it is able to get to the web and do that sort of thing using your computer. And so you can experience what an Android is. So if you've always wanted to know what an Android phone is like and you've got an iPhone, then here you go. Go check it out and see what it's like. And you can go to the settings here and adjust the settings on the phone. And there you go. So have at it and have fun playing with your Android emulator. Appreciate it very much, and give it a shot. Try to do this yourself. I hope you do.